Every morning the world starts quietly, one soft light at a time. Homes flicker awake, shops open. People take those first small steps into a brand new day. And in all of that ordinary movement, there's something kind of extraordinary. A moment worth noticing, a spark you feel before you even name it. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's small, but kindness shows up right on time. And every morning we choose to show up with you so we can look for that spark together.
Good morning. I'm Matt Roof, the Uncommon Kindness Guy, and this is Kindness Rising. Let's rise together.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, friends. Welcome to Kindness Rising. Today is one of those mornings where your chest feels just a little bit bigger, the coffee tastes a little bit better, and you remember why sports is our holy grail. Team USA just won the Olympic gold medal, of course, in men's hockey for the first time since 1980, a 46-year drought, by beating Canada 2-1 in overtime. And that moment, the moment was just pure movie gold and hockey gold, because Jack Hughes lost his front tooth and then scored the golden goal in overtime. Of course, you know that's relatable to me. I'm wearing my little tooth today, but some days it's not there because I've got my own battle story about hockey sticks and chicken wings. If you know me, you know what I'm talking about. But today we're not just talking about hockey. We're talking about brotherhood, about legacy, about grief, resilience, and of course the six strings of Kindness Rising, all tuned up from one forgettable morning, 8 a.m. Eastern. We were up watching the game yesterday, and 7:30 Eastern, we are here with you. Kindness Rising. Welcome to the morning. If you're out there, get involved in the chat. Come say hello, and we'll start talking about our simple truths and our Kindness Rising messages from yesterday's. Good morning, Roseanne. Absolutely. Anyway, simple truth. Sometimes you don't feel ready for your moment. You're bleeding. You're tired. You're missing a piece of yourself. In Jack Hughes' case, literally missing a piece of himself. And your moment arrives anyway. He took a stick to the face, spit out some chiclets, and came back and scored the overtime golden goal. Overtime gold goal win, just like Crosby did in 2010. He did it. Jack Hughes, 2026. Here's the Kindness Rising angle to that. Kindness isn't soft. It's staying in the game, not to prove you're tough, but because your family needs you, your team needs you, your future needs you. And today I'm vibing with Team Tooth Gap. And I'm thinking about all of us who are carrying up something, a loss, a scar, a diagnosis, a setback, a season that didn't go as planned. You can be missing something, but still be the one that finishes the story. Welcome to Kindness Rising. I welcome you all here to the show. And we're going to talk about our six strings and how our six strings involve what happened yesterday. Kindness, balance, action, curiosity, and self-awareness, all on display in Milan yesterday. Unbelievable. Say hello in the chat. Welcome. I'm Matt Roof, the Uncommon Kindness Guy. Hello, Carla Molina. Welcome. Glad to see you. Absolutely. Mike Sullivan, of course. Absolutely. Yes, I agree. 2026. Hopefully that will be a little bit of a vibe change for us, perhaps. It happened in 1980. I know we're talking about history repeating itself, right? In 1980, when that miracle on ice occurred, we were in some rough shape too, right? I was only 8, but I know from history and I know from looking the things that we were struggling against. The economy, gas prices through the roof, long lines of gas in the 70s. Of course, the Iran hostage situation just hovering and hanging over all of our heads, with an election just 11 months away, and crazy things happening when that 1980, all the Olympic history, the recent protests and issues at other Olympic games, it certainly was a big time. And today may be just as big a time. Maybe we'll look back on this yesterday and today and say that was a moment. That was a moment. We can make that moment. And what's most important is that we make that moment in our own lives, right? Carly Molina, absolutely. Mike Sullivan, Roseanne, thanks for joining and helping us to turn yesterday's insane moment of national pride here in the U.S. Absolutely. Just, I'm so excited to talk and share about it. With or without my tooth, Jack and I together. You know what they say, if you're going to play hockey, it's going to happen. Mine didn't happen actually on the ice. It happened over time on the ice from not wearing a mouth guard and killing a tooth. I didn't actually lose my tooth from that, but over time, those things that I did, we never thought about wearing a mouth guard, really. Good morning, Breanne Fleming. Yes, yes, yes. USA. USA. That was awesome. It was awesome. And what a game. Just what a game. Canada, unbelievable. That team, to the talent that was on the ice all around, unbelievable. But we're here talking about the connections to Kindness Rising. Of course, we're talking about the Hughes brotherhood, Jack and Quinn. I've talked about Jack. He won the game. Quinn, he scored an overtime game in the quarterfinals, sending the team on to the next round, because brotherhood, which I never experienced genetically, but I have experienced it my whole life, is the purest form of kindness that says, I'm not just proud of you when it's easy. I'm here when it costs you something. When one scores, the others feel it. And the hugs, the scenes of them, the pictures of them after the golden goal. Come on, tell me that wasn't awesome. Get involved in the chat. Tell me what your thoughts were yesterday during the game. Of course, anybody who knows me had to know that today's episode would be all about this. It has to be. And there were so many stories beyond the ice, right? Of course, the ice was crazy game, unbelievable plays. Connor Hellebuck, he wasn't necessarily in my script to start, but holy moly, that save with that stick behind, iconic, absolutely iconic. We will be talking about it. We will be seeing those images forever. They're forever images. It's unbelievable. And sometimes shows just write themselves when stuff like that happens. So we had one brotherhood, the Jack and Quinn Hughes brothers, unbelievable. Of course, their blood running deep. And then we had the Tkachuk brothers. Holy moly, how many sets of brothers can we be talking about today? That's amazing. Hockey definitely is a family sport. Anyone who plays it, follows it, knows that. Just about every sport has legacies, of course, at this stage. People who carry on their families' traditions, sons, daughters, fathers, cousins, uncles, all the connections. But holy moly, yes, absolutely, Breanne, Johnny Gaudreau's family. We're going to be talking about that in just a minute. And yeah, you want to talk about emotional? I have no problem. I'm getting choked up right now. I have no problem talking about all the emotions. That was way more than a hockey game for me. All that's going on in the world, all that's going on in my life, the Gaudreau brothers, the Tkachuk brothers, my own personal connection to hockey my whole life, the USA, 1980, 1940, 46 years later. I mean, if you think I wasn't crying, if you think I wasn't choked up pretty much the entire time, you're talking to a guy that's not that guy. I'm the guy who definitely sheds the tear and thinks about that and connects to that emotionally, finds motivation with it. Yes, it can be exhausting sometimes. Wow, I looked at Heather yesterday at like 11:30 in the morning, and I'm like, how is it not midnight right now? Holy moly. Yeah, that was some serious stuff. Breanne, thanks for coming out always. Yes, that Johnny Gaudreau It's hard for me to even talk about it right now, but I'm going to talk about it. I've got it in the list of things to talk about. But let's get back to the Tkachuks. What a great name, first of all. Come on, Tkachuk. Could there be a better hockey name? Well, Tkachuk. Anyway, absolutely. Four-time is their father. Four-time Keith Tkachuk. Their grandfather actually, an amazing, iconic New York Ranger in the NHL. But their father, Keith Tkachuk, has the record for most ice time as an U.S. Olympian. 92, 98, 2002, and 2006. He skated as an Olympian, but never got the gold. And now he's got two kids on this team wearing the same sweater. Their father, Keith, represented the U.S. in 4 Olympic Games. And now this generation is writing the chapter. Unbelievable. Brianne, you and I are going to have to fight. It's just going to have to happen. Matt Tkachuk, all right, I'll give you that. All right. Sam Bennett over on the Canadian team took that big double minor penalty. No. I mean, how can you not love what the Panthers are doing? That is an unbelievable team, even though, as a diehard Ranger fan, it's not my favorite thing to see. But I can respect what the Panthers have created down there in Florida. Not a hockey state, but you've got a team. I can live with that. Yes, I'm a little bit of a northeastern hockey snob, but that's okay. Some great teams, and the Panthers are one of them. Absolutely. Douglas Marshall, welcome in. I am so glad you are here. And same thing with you. Not Shadaha. I can't say it. All right, but we're still having fun. All right. LC, I don't know what that says. Something about cold edits. I don't know. I'm just glad everybody's here. We're rocking out on a Monday after the gold medal game, right? And we're talking about how it all connects. All connects. Jack Hughes losing a tooth. Missing my tooth too. That's okay. Again, the combination of that hockey injury. I'm not wearing my prosthodontic in honor of yesterday's amazing victory by the United States, and just so much more than a hockey game. So much more than a hockey game. Absolutely. All right. And there's more Olympic roots. As long as we're talking families, we're talking Olympic roots. Brock Nelson, this is one they didn't really highlight a lot. I don't know if you guys recognized Brock Nelson. If you watched the game or you've seen the highlights, he's the really tall guy, and he wore a glass shield the entire game because he had an injury, but he was keeping his face protected. But he too, huge part of a multi-generational Olympic hockey family, but you wouldn't know it because he's the nephew in the Christian family. So he has a different last name, but if you ever look up Christian, not the religion, the name, you can look up the religion too if you want, but look up the name in the Christian family in hockey. And the one that I remember from my generation was Dave Christian. But prior to that, family going on generational. There are 1962, 1980, and 2026, the only three U.S. Olympic gold medals had someone with the Christian blood in them. The father, the great uncle, and the son, I don't know, whatever it was, all three of them. Dave Christian, who's definitely Brock Nelson's uncle. I remember him from the 1980 team, but that's pretty cool. Only 3 gold medals in Olympic history, and there's somebody with that blood. Yep. And I think what this tells us is that legacy, it doesn't really mean extra pressure. Brock Nelson has achieved amazing things in the NHL, so he's like, whatever, but it can mean permission. It doesn't have to mean pressure. It can mean tradition because it says, this is what our family does. We show up and we're Olympic champions. And that's an amazing legacy to hold on to. Absolutely. All right. So here it is, right? The Gaudreau family situation. Just unreal tragedy, triumph, humanity, human emotions. Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau, Johnny, of course, known as Johnny Hockey, prior to his death in 2024, was part of this generation. He played with and against all these guys that were on the ice. I'm talking about the Canadians. I'm talking about the US. I'm talking about the guys on Finland and Sweden. They all played with or against Johnny Gaudreau, Johnny Hockey, one of the brightest future talents brightest talents when he died, but also just an amazing future snuffed out in an unbelievably tragic manner when he and his brother, who were out cycling on the morning of their sister's wedding in New Jersey, just went out for a ride. Just went out to blow off some steam, probably burning off some booze from whatever they were doing, cycling, probably staying fit because they were both high level athletes. Struck by a vehicle, both killed. Simultaneous to that, both of the, or not both, but Johnny's wife, was pregnant, and Matt may have had a kid already, but Johnny's wife was definitely pregnant, and that was in 2024. And those kids got to go to Milan. The children, the legacy, and watch their father's jersey held by those men. Pretty big deal for me, for sure. Grief has a way of making those wins feel different, less like dominance and more like a dedication. So the kindness here is in remembrance, what we carry with us, and not wasting the gift that we're here. Because the gold matters, but the real story is those guys becoming men, those men becoming fathers, and the legacy continuing. Unreal. So I had to get through that, but I did, and absolutely, the six strings in motion right here as my little phone rings. Classic. Oh yeah. Okay, so absolutely, that was the moment when the guys skated over and were given the chance to bring those kids down on the ice. Pretty good shit. Pretty good stuff. Excuse me. So, swinging the motions the other way, let's talk about exercising demons. Canada, US. Keith Billis, I know you're out there, buddy. You guys had lots of wins for my friends in Canada. And that Canadian team, was unbelievably stacked this year. Best hockey players literally in the world. Individual talents, team talents, coaching, unbelievable. So, and they played hard, they played well. It was just a great game, and a great tournament. I mean, Canada coming back from some down twice in both quarterfinal and the semifinal. Trust me, when it got to be 1-1, I was like, oh God, here we go. This is the story. I was actually predicting, and I predicted there with my buddy Keith up in Canada, that it would be Connor McDavid that would score the golden goal, and it would be the handoff of the captainship from Sidney Crosby to to Connor McDavid, but that's not the way the story played out. You can fictionalize it, you can write the story in your head, but it plays out the way it played out. And this time the story was about the Hughes brothers, both scoring in overtime, including Jack grabbing the golden goal. Unbelievable. But yeah, and the US, I've been a US hockey fan my whole life, of course, and I still remember where I was sitting on my in-laws' floor in 2010. I'm not even sure why we were there or what we were doing in 2010, but I was sitting on my in-laws' floor with the family around, and watching that game and watching Sidney Crosby's golden goal. Burned in my brain. It's amazing the way those memories are burned in your brain, and I will remember where I was for the 2026 game with my wife and my cats at 8 o'clock in the morning having breakfast. So what happened? It was a rewrite of history. The Olympics mattered extra this year, I feel like, because the while these guys were the three of the four finals teams were entirely made up of NHL players, and the other one was significantly made up of NHL players. And NHL is known as the greatest league in the world. I don't think there's any argument about that. It's where the greatest players go. So while they were all pros, they're all representing their country. These guys are playing with guys that they played with on the ice and guys who next week they'll be playing against. Guys that they played with before on other teams, guys that they'll be playing against. But the point is, the best of the best in the world. And that's what it was like in 2014 too, or excuse me, in 2010. So I'm not trying to underscore that, but the point is it was the U.S.'s turn, the U.S.'s breakthrough. They had lost last year with pretty much the same two teams in overtime, of course. But this year it was the U.S. So I'm glad to have shared my experience with all of you, Mike Sullivan, the Canadians. Got it. You got to watch the Canadians. Nice, Sully. Yes, those were great teams. No question about it, especially in the 60s and 70s. Great teams in Montreal. And then in the 80s when Patrick Waugh came. I'm geeking out on hockey now. We'll get back to what maybe the rest of you care about in this experience, because we're going to talk about a quick little branding riff. I haven't talked branding in a while, but let me tell you, that team, that was branding. That was natural, organic branding, not polish, just substance. I mean, Jack's interview, if you have a chance to go and just listen to, he didn't say much, but he said everything. He didn't say much, but he said everything in his interview of just pure in the moment joy. So go back and listen to Jack Hughes' post-game interview if you have a chance. I'm not going to show it here. I got in trouble last week. The YouTube people didn't like me for playing certain videos last week, i.e. the ones from Miracle. I didn't really get in trouble. They just said, copyright, blah, blah, blah. But, it happens. I didn't think it was a big deal for the little snippet, but apparently it was. But that's some of my experience I'm learning. Anyway, we're going to talk about branding because branding was on display over the weekend. The experience, those guys, the experiences that they had together with the Gaudreau brothers, with the Tkachuk brothers, their experiences in the NHL playing with and for each other. That was their experience, their expertise. Come on. I mean, these are literally the best, most skilled people in the world. Authenticity. I didn't see like anyone trying to rise above or they were focused on the brothers and whatever, but there was no fake bravado, just hard work. They had trust in each other all throughout the game, throughout the series, and then, of course, entertainment. What could be more entertaining than what we saw? So I think we saw a pretty amazing brand on display, the USA Hockey brand. And Jack talked about a little bit about this, about what USA Hockey he's talking about it as a team and as a representation of our country. And Michael Ruzioni was on before, and he said, other than putting on your fireman's uniform, your police uniform, your military uniform, those kind of sacrifices that people make, putting on the USA jersey on an Olympic stage is one of the greatest honors, right? He said that right before the game, and I thought that's pretty awesome. And also the other thing that struck me was at the end of the game, they said only 37 now in the world. It really was down to like 12. Only 37 living people are U.S. gold medal hockey winners in the world right now. That's pretty amazing. So anyway, it was authenticity before aesthetics, definitely, with Jack rocking around. I don't know if you guys noticed closely. If you look closely, he's already had a metal pin in there. So what he really lost was like his crown or his top, but his bloody gums and all the rest of the nasty. He's had his share. All right. Well, we're winding down on I feel like the 1980 sitcom, a very special episode of no. For me, it was very special, and I'm just so glad that each one of you, anybody that's out there listening, getting involved in the chat, played along with me and hung in there through this. As I wind down on the episode, but here's a couple of little feel good vibes from the from the game. Something that I talked about a lot, and I got choked up here talking about it. I don't care. What I loved to see was what I call healthy masculinity, right? Hugging your teammates, crying happy tears, honoring the people you lost, saying I love you without needing a punchline. All those things on display. And yes, it's always very easy if you watch Overtime Men use sports and other things and around them to do it. But my encouragement is that we figure out ways to do it when it's not the gold medal game on the line, right? Good morning, Spartacus. Thanks for joining, buddy. I appreciate you coming out here before you get on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends. We're talking about things like healthy masculinity based on yesterday's USA of victory, and also the believing together, not perfectly. This is going to be something that the country will remember, right? A moment that's bigger than any of us, but the idea of the belief together, that is amazing. All right. Absolutely. All right. So here we go. Winding down. Thank you all. Let me just summarize for you. What we saw yesterday wasn't just an overtime goal. It wasn't just the 46-year drought ending. It was the families. Because before the gold medal, there were brothers. The Hughes brothers, they didn't start on Olympic ice. They started in their driveway, backyard battles, basement rinks, right? The Tkachuk brothers, they didn't inherit talent. They inherited the standards, right? With Keith wearing the sweater 4 times and the next generation carrying it forward. And then there's the part, of course, the honor of Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew Gaudreau, because sometimes you don't just play to win, you play to remember. And when the final horn sounded, what happened? They didn't grab their sticks. They grabbed their kids. They grabbed each other. They hugged it out. That's the part. The brothers becoming men, the men becoming fathers, and the fathers handing something forward to those kids. That's legacy. That's brotherhood. And that's the 6 strings in motion, right? Gold wasn't won in overtime. It was built at the dinner table in backyard fights through strength and grief, and it was sealed with love. So today, call your brother, thank your dad, hug your kids, because champions fade, family doesn't. So stay uncommon and stay kind. What if your mornings could be inspiring and ridiculously fun.
Kindness Rising isn't just a show, it's a full wake-up vibe.
It's freaking fun, people.
Yeah, man, it's got real get after it energy.
I love it.
Wake up with Kindness Rising.
I help purpose-driven people grow their impact. 5-ingredient recipe to help you build your personal brand. Get out there and take kind action.
If it's live, they'll feel it.
On Kindness Rising, we bring you proven strategies and fresh ideas you can actually use. If you're not failing, you're not trying.
Exactly. Fail fast, rebound faster.
You'll see the bloopers and the genuine connections that make kindness contagious. We sometimes get into a little bit of trouble.
Pretty much my life made the list.
You can trust what you see right here is honest, respectful, and uplifting. Social impact organizations, and we always talk about them. Try kindness. It's way cheaper than therapy. You just made my day.